In this lesson, we'll learn how to format our text using paragraph styles. Okay, so in the previous lesson, we learned how to create and apply character styles for some of the headers in our document. Now, looking at our document here, this body copy is out of control in some places. Now, if you remember, we're using right now a typeface called Minion Pro, and it's at 12 point. And I tell you what, we're actually going to use a paragraph style in a very similar fashion as we used the character style in the previous lesson. Why a paragraph style and not a character style? Well, because we're going to be applying paragraph-related attributes like alignment and so on and so forth. So we need a little different type of style. So I tell you what, let's come to the Window drop-down menu, choose Styles, and we're going to grab Paragraph Styles right here. Also the keyboard shortcut F11. And you can see here that this window opens up, and the first thing you'll notice is we've got two paragraph styles here in this dialog. Now, we have our basic paragraph style, which is always going to be there whether you're creating a new document or exactly what. And we've got this normal style. Now, I tell you what, this normal style is actually there because the normal style always exists in a Microsoft Word document. Even when you strip all of the style-related formatting out of it, there's always going to be this normal style. So that comes over from our Microsoft Word files. So I'm not actually even going to use this style, so we can actually just delete that right out of the gate. So I'm just going to delete that here. Now, if you remember in the previous lesson, I mentioned there's two different ways to create a character style. We could actually hit the New Style button and create and configure the character style all by hand and then begin applying it to certain areas within our document, or we could actually make the changes in the document, format the text there, select the text, and then hit the New button, and it'll create a new character style based on this text that we have formatted. Well, I tell you what, paragraph styles are actually going to work the exact same way. So real easy to remember. Last lesson we created a character style from scratch. Let's go ahead and format some text here in our document and create a paragraph style based on that text. So the first thing you need to understand is how to select the text within your text frame. Now, if you double click in the text frame, it's going to place your flashing cursor right there inside that text frame. And if you double click in the text frame, after that cursor is already there, you're going to double click and select a word. If you triple click in that text frame, you're going to select a line. If you quadruple click in that text frame, you're going to actually select an entire paragraph. Now, if you click 5 times in a row inside that text frame, you're going to select all text inside that story. So it's going to select text in linked text frames as well. So I'm going to go ahead and select just this paragraph right here, and we'll work with that one for right now. So I'm going to hit that with 4 clicks, select that entire paragraph. Now, if you notice here, our paragraphs are seeming to run together. There's no space in between them, and there's also no tabs indicating where a paragraph begins. We're actually going to fix that now. So let's come up here to our control panel. We could either do this here, or we could come over to our character panel, but we need to choose a typeface for our paragraph style. So let's just go ahead and type one in here. I'm going to use another free typeface. I'll actually include a link so you can download this one as well, but this one's called Collaborate Thin. So let's just go ahead and select that here. There's Collaborate Thin. And I tell you what, let's go ahead and select that and use that at about 10 points. And I'm going to change the leading to about 12 points of leading here. You can see here that that drastically changed the look of that paragraph. In fact, let me just go ahead and deselect that here, and we can compare the two paragraphs. Now, this is really hard to judge when you're working on a computer monitor, how this is going to look when you print this information. So, this is a 10-point typeface is actually a fairly readable typeface. 12 points is actually kind of big and kind of fat when you look at it in printed form. So, I tell you what, let's come over here. And let's use those appearance attribute changes on this paragraph right here to create a new paragraph style. So we only made a couple of changes there. So let's come over here to our paragraph styles panel, and let's hit this New Style button here. So you'll see we get paragraph style number 1, and just like with our character styles, we're going to double click on that. Now, this dialog looks even more intimidating than the character styles, I'm sure. So don't be intimidated by this. There's a lot of information here, and there's a lot of different ways that you can configure a paragraph style. In fact, mastering the use of character styles and paragraph styles is going to take some time you spending in InDesign using both of these. So we're going to create a basic paragraph style right here, and let's just go ahead and name this first. Let's call this body copy. Now we've got some other options here as far as based on. Now the based on right here is going to allow you to link paragraph styles from one to another. So if you make changes to one, that change will trickle down to the linked styles. So we're not going to do that right now. I'm just going to leave that at no paragraph style. We're going to leave next style at same style. So I'm going to come down here to basic character formats, and you can see here that because I have that paragraph right there selected, it's already applied the appearance attributes that we applied to that paragraph. We've got our typeface chosen, we've got our size, and our leading applied. Now, there's really nothing else I'm going to do on this category for basic character formats, but we'll just jump through a few more of these other ones here. Here is advanced character formats. You can see some stuff there. Indents and spacing. We're actually going to make some changes here. Now, this is where we'll change whether we want this to be left aligned, right aligned, justified. Let's go ahead and hit this preview button here so we can see changes we're making. So I'm going to change that to left justified. And you can see here that it's creating all kinds of awkward gaps between words. In fact, when you're working with columns that are this narrow, I would never recommend using justified type. Always use some sort of a ragged edge, whether it be left aligned, right aligned. Right aligned is kind of uncommon, but if you have a reason to use that, don't ever use justified type for a narrow column like this. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this at left aligned here. I'm going to go ahead and check this option to balance the ragged lines. And you can see here that InDesign is trying to balance these lines so that we don't have a really short line right next to a really, really long line. So like I mentioned here, there's a lot of options here. We're not going to go through near all of these. If you want to, feel free to come in here and play with some of these other paragraph style options on your own time. Feel free to do that. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK now. And we've got this paragraph style created. So now what we can do is come in and select another paragraph here and apply our body copy style to it. So let's come in and apply this style in a few places. So let's come in and select this paragraph here, apply body copy. Let's make sure we didn't select too much here. No, we were pretty good with that. Let's go ahead and select our paragraph style here for body copy. And let's go ahead and apply it down here as well. All right. So you can see we've really started to clean up our layout and just creating one paragraph style for the body copy. So I tell you what, let's come down here and begin applying that down here as well. Now, here's a challenge we haven't really faced yet. We've got a few paragraphs that are right next to each other. So I want to go ahead and select all this information right here. Let's apply our paragraph style, and let's come in and double click on our paragraph style. See if we can't maybe distinguish between each of these paragraphs in some way. So some ways we could go ahead and do that. Let's come over here to indents and spacing. We could do a first line indent for our paragraphs. Just click on that a few times and you can see it's indenting each of the paragraphs. And I don't really like that for this style. I think that a better option, let's just reduce that, might be to add a little bit of space before. So I tell you what, let me go ahead and click that there. And you can see what that's doing is it's actually applying a little bit of space before each paragraph. Well, you know, that's actually going to cause some problems where the paragraphs sit right underneath a header. So I tell you what, instead of space before, let's apply some space after. Let's go ahead and click that twice. Give it about 1/8 of an inch there. And let's hit OK so we can deselect our paragraph and see how that looks. I think that looks pretty good. Let's come up here and just make sure everything looks pretty good. Still looking good up there. Let's continue to apply this body copy paragraph style to the rest of our text here. So I'm going to come over, select this paragraph here, and let's apply that. Continuing to apply these. Alright, so we've applied our body copy paragraph style to all of our paragraphs. And, you know, let's go ahead and create another type of paragraph style. Let me just go ahead and zoom in on our bulleted list here. Now, we've got here a header that is off into the bleed area on our document, and we need to do something about that. So let's create a paragraph style to create a header. Now, we created a header with a character style. Let's use a paragraph style to create one. And the reason I'm using a paragraph style here instead of a character style is because I want to align this header to the right. So let's come in here, create a new paragraph style. Let's call this header 2. And I'm going to come over under basic character formats. And let's go ahead and change this again to that same typeface we're using for our body copy. Let's change it to collaborate thin. And this time, instead of using it at 12 points regular, let's go ahead and apply that at all caps. Let's preview that and see how that looks. Well, actually, we don't have any text selected, so we won't be previewing that just yet. So I tell you what, let's go ahead and come down to indents and spacing, and we're going to align this to the right. And let's change the color on this as well. Let's come down here to character color, and instead of black, let's select paper. And we'll hit OK. And let's double click to select this header text right here, and we'll just apply header 2 to that. Alright, so looking pretty good. You know, at this point I think I may come in and actually double click on that header 2, and let's increase the size of that. Let's bump that up to about 18 points. And we'll drag that out of the way, see how that looks. I think that's looking much better. So let's come over here to indents and spacing again, and let's give that a little bit of space before. Let me just drag that down so you can see what's going on. Actually, not space before. We want to do a little bit of a first line indent on this one. Well, maybe not a first line indent. How about a right indent? Let's go ahead and apply that here. We'll just give that a little bit of a space off of the edge of that frame. Alright, so looking really good. I want to go ahead and create one more paragraph style here, and it relates to this bulleted list. So I want to come in here, select our bulleted list, and let's go ahead and create a new paragraph style. We'll just select that bulleted list here and create a new paragraph style. So we've got our new paragraph style here. I'm going to go ahead and double click on that. Let's apply our same typeface to this one. Let's apply Collaborate Thin. And we're going to apply that at 12 points. Keep in mind I'm actually previewing this here so we can see what this does. And you know, now I'm going to come over here. We're going to choose this bullets and numbering option right here. So let's go ahead and select that here. Now you can see here that the list type currently is set to none. So, you know, I'm going to come over here, drag this out, and we're going to select bullets. You can see here that there's been some crazy little changes going on here. So let me just undo that. We may need to look here at our hidden characters and see if we've got a hard return where it shouldn't be. So, you know, let's go ahead and hit OK on this. Jump out of preview mode here. And actually, yeah, it does look like there is actually a missing hard return after this word right here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that hard return from there. Let's go ahead and paste it in right there, and we'll resolve that bullet problem that we just had. So coming in here now, we can actually come in and double click on this paragraph style again. Let's just call this bullets. And let's come back to this bullets and numbering. And let's just say that our bullets are a little bit far away from the text. Maybe we want those to be a little bit closer. So right down here, the tab position, I'm going to come in and I'm going to decrease that just a little bit. Maybe a 1/4 inch. Let's see what that looks like. Let's even take it down to about 1/8. You know, a 1/4 inch looked pretty good, so we'll bump it back up to that and hit OK on that. And you can see here how easy it is to create a paragraph style even for a bulleted list. So InDesign is going to handle a bulleted list a little differently than Microsoft Word handles one. Alright, so in this lesson we've created 3 different paragraph styles, and you know what, this one's jumping out at me for our header number 2. Let me just jump in there. I'm going to reduce the amount of tracking on that. Let's bump that down to about -30. There we go, that looks a little bit better. That type is a little tighter together there. And so we've created 3 different paragraph styles, and it looks like, well, we've actually got a little bit of a problem. Let me just drag this down just a little bit. There we go. We've created 3 different paragraph styles which have successfully cleaned up our document here. Now, our document feels a lot more orderly. The text feels very comfortable in the positions that we've applied it in. You know, in between lessons, I may go ahead and create one more paragraph style here for our copyright information. I think that should be right aligned. But, you know, in the next lesson, we'll pick up where we're leaving off here, and we'll learn how to utilize both snippets and libraries.